All right, so the next one we
What's
got
good for
up.
the goose is bad for the gander.
Exactly. But the next one we got up is mortgage giant Fannie Mae will soon accept crypto backed home buying loans. Let me get rid of this ad.
Excuse my visceral reaction to the idea of using crypto to buy a house.
Oh, don't worry. We'll get to that in a second.
I'm gonna pump. I'm gonna show up and I'm gonna be like, I'm gonna buy my house. You don't understand. I own 1 million tokens of
Giffen. Giffen.
Noah House. Yeah, of Noah House purchase coin. It just hit a market valuation per coin of $10. I have $10 million.
Take it
The
from me.
market valuation is 10 mil. I would like to buy a $10 million house fully out of pocket. No mortgage.
uh,
Right now. Oh, you accept that? Awesome. All right, bye.
yeah, bye.
Oh, what happened? My coin tanked 2 days after the fact?
Not
Don't
my
know how to help
fault.
you. Don't know how to help you. That's not my problem anymore.
I already signed the papers.
Yeah, you've already got the papers, man. This is all legally. I did this. I didn't know it was gonna crash. How was I supposed
Hmm.
to know it was gonna crash?
Yeah, it's not
I
my
had
fault.
faith in the coin, man. I bought a house with it.
Yeah, I thought it was worth something. You thought it was
And
worth
you're telling,
something. We both thought it was worth
which
something.
is
That's
worth
gotta count for
something.
something.
And at the point of purchase, that's all that mattered.
So I'll take my deed.
So I'll take my deed and I'll go to my $1 million home, $10 million
Million
dollar
dollar
home
home.
in beautiful Malibu, California, away from all the poor people.
Fannie Mae is FNMA is set soon to begin accepting cryptocurrency-backed mortgages, according to an announcement on Thursday from mortgage originator Better Homes and Finance, and the crypto exchange Coinbase Global. Period. Um, Shares in Better Homes surged by as much as 12% after the announcement, before pulling back slightly. Okay, whatever. While Coinbase traded down at roughly 1.5%, mortgage-backed securities giant Fannie Mae slid through roughly 4.6% in the over-the-counter market, according to the Yahoo Finance data. Okay. A new product launched by the two companies will allow individuals to originate mortgages with Better Home that conform to Fannie Mae standards while using Bitcoin or USD Coin for as collateral for the loan. The company said in a press release on Thursday. Individuals will apply for regular 15 or 30-year mortgages with Better that conform to Fannie Mae standards, but instead of paying a cash down payment, the home buyer will receive a separate loan backed by their Bitcoin or USDC holdings. The launch of the quote token backed mortgage product, unquote, Better said, quote, marks the first time an AI native mortgage lender has used secure digital asset loans and the platform of a major crypto exchange to create a direct pathway from digital wealth to home ownership, unquote. Bull. The product, quote, empower Americans who own digital assets but lack sufficient down payment funds or prefer to keep down payment funds liquid to secure a home by pledging their tokenized assets as collateral, unquote, the company said. While the offering is not the first cryptocurrency mortgage product to reach the market, the Wall Street Journal reported, the involvement of Fannie Mae brings crypto products more into the mainstream financial system, as Fannie Mae is backed by the federal government and managed by the Federal Housing Finance Agency. Better said on Thursday that its new crypto backed mortgages will have, quote, no margin calls, end quote, and, quote, no top ups, end quote, noting that if the price of Bitcoin drops, the mortgage terms will remain stable with no additional collateral requirements, and, quote, market movements alone never trigger liquidation, unquote. Okay. The company also said that individuals pledging Bitcoin or USDC instead of paying cash down payment will only be at risk of liquidation in the event of a 60-day payment delinquency, which Better noted in a similar to current Fannie Mae conforming mortgage standards. In 2025, Redfin survey found that more than 10% of millennial and Gen Z homebuyers sold crypto holdings to fund their own down payment. Oh my, the journal reported. Quote, the ability to transform digital wealth into housing access is an exciting milestone in our mission to increase economic freedom, end quote. Max Brandsburg, head of consumer and business products at Coinbase, said in the press release. Token backed mortgages are a major step in unlocking home ownership for the younger generations that have struggled with barriers to saving for a traditional down payment, end quote. Okay, well, I got a few problems with that. Now, to an extent, I will say I don't entirely dislike the concept of using mainly just Bitcoin, Ethereum, or I guess USD coin. I've never, like, as someone who looked a bit into crypto, owned some crypto, I've never put any money into USD coin, but the problem is, like, it's like they're essentially using that as collateral for the loan. If Bitcoin crashes, that's not much of a collateral. Like,
Mm-hmm.
I think like last year or a year before, Bitcoin was hovering around $100,000. Recently, it dropped to $70,000 per coin. Uh, as if I was a, you know, a bank or mortgage loaner, that would make me nervous. I would hope these people would be paying back on time, because let's say they are delinquent and I decide to liquidate their assets. Yeah, it's great that I liquidated their assets, but it's worth half as much as I expected on paper. Now,
Aw.
yeah, I know, but my thing is, like, this is kind of in a weird way the mortgage-backed securities from 2007 2008 financial crisis, where in that case it was these insurance companies where insurance loan companies were bundling a bunch of people's loans together, you know, A, double A, triple A, and calling them triple A. Well, triple A is like the best quality. These people
Mm-hmm.
will pay back their loans. Uh, Putting them together, calling it triple A, and sending it off to the next bank or financial place that will buy it. Once they started to realize that, hey, most of these people are not actually triple A. Uh, we had the housing crash, and the stock market crash. I can't imagine. In my mind, this is essentially the same thing, because we're all basing this on the stability of an asset, a digital asset, that has been known to not be stable. Like,
Mm-hmm.
don't get me wrong. Since like 2020, I remember at the time Bitcoin reached. I think it was 2020. Bitcoin reached, I think, $25,000, and my brother-in-law told me about it. And that's when I started looking into crypto and stuff, because I'm like, why? I don't understand why people would pay that much money for ones and zeros. But then I'll admit I fell down the rabbit hole. But that was in 2020, and it
So it
jumped.
turns out the logic is so much worse than you thought.
Yeah, but it didn't stop me from buying crypto, I'll admit. But and then in the span of
Nothing
what's it
wrong
called?
with making some money off of some fools.
Oh yeah, I mean I did. I made money for sure. Like, I already told you about that one meme coin. I was like, I'll just
Mm-hmm.
throw $15 towards it, and then like a year later, I totally forgot about it, because one of the crypto exchanges I was using was like, hey, we're about to close down. We recommend you liquidate your assets. And I'm like, okay. So I logged in and checked, and it got like almost $800. I'm like, I should have bought more. But anyways, but in the span of that 1 year of everyone looking into crypto, I'm part of the white sheep. Uh, it went from like 25,000 to like 69,000. Nice. And it would constantly fluctuate essentially between those two numbers for about 2 years, and then it would slowly trickle its way up. And I think like
Hmm.
last year it hit $100,000, and now we're at, I don't know about now. I just remember reading reports that it was down to
Whoa.
like $69,000 again or something like that. And I was like, you know what I mean? Like when you think of what's it called? Your things you put your collateral. Generally, now I don't know anything about Fannie Mae. I don't know how they operate, but in their mind, crypto is stable enough to be considered as good collateral. Even though I think BlackRock, I saw on X, was like, yeah, we just offloaded like $250 million of Bitcoin. I don't see that as a good thing. Um, let's see. Let's see. I have a note here. Major market disruptions are often preceded by the introduction of a quote new financial contraption unquote that is poorly understood or sophisticated yet poorly understood. Historically, these contraptions tend to mutate when stressed. Bitcoin for sure. Pushing an already tend to mutate when stressed, pushing an already weakened financial system closer to the crisis. I mean, I don't see the difference. I mean, obviously I see a difference, but I don't see a
Hmm.
different outcome. You know what I mean? Like eventually, if, and again, we already talked about this like weeks ago. People are taking out payday loans just to make what's it called, make rent or make their payments.
Yep.
That what's called credit card debt is the highest it's ever been in this country. Unemployment is it still high? I'm pretty sure it's still high. People aren't hiring. Wages are stagnating as prices rise. Inflation rises. I again, I don't, we're not in the home business, so I can't say for certain. But it seems like these are red flags, and they're jumping on the only green flag. And I wouldn't even consider Bitcoin a green flag. But again, they would probably know better than I would. But it seems like like those who don't know their history are doomed to repeat it. I feel like we know our
Hmm.
history at this point, and we're still doomed to repeat it because eventually people are not going to be able to make their payments. Their assets are going to get liquidated, and then the banks who made, or the insurance, whatever, who made the bets on, oh, we'll take their Bitcoin, realizing that Bitcoin's dropped nearly 50% in its value in the span of like 2 weeks. I don't even know what you do.
Yep. Yeah,
In my
dude.
mind, I would be like, hey, we need to cut off Bitcoin as a collateral, and then that news gets out, then Bitcoin's price drops even further,
Yep.
and then now you get even less if they can't pay.
Hmm. Yeah, it's just it's you know what it is? Here's the real secret. It's a giant money transfer machine, okay?
Oh yeah, dude.
It's a giant wealth transfer machine from poor saps who are dumb enough to buy a house using crypto to wealthy people. And really what it is what it's probably going to get used as is by businesses and really wealthy people to not have to pay real money for assets so they can acquire the asset at no personal cost to themselves um, by doing strategies by basically you can offload the cost onto like a million morons who want to buy some large sum of XYZ crypto thing um, and it's fairly risk free for you. And so you can just keep like taking out like I mean obviously you're probably not going to do it en masse, but this is like a anything to do with crypto to me is or yeah anything to do with crypto with me is just always I'm immediately looking. This might be poisoned, but I'm immediately always looking for the all right. What's the how does this money get back to some like rich distributor or some rich person on the back end of this who's just making an absolute killing off of like a bunch of poor morons who don't know any better.
Oh yeah,
The same thing with like
absolutely.
all the poly market stuff where it's like, okay, hold on, why are we allowed to bet on all this? Oh, it's so really, really wealthy people can wager absurdly large amounts of money on events that they have direct control over, totally unaccounted, and then execute events in the ways that they bet on. and reap a profit. Oh, okay, yeah, now it's all clicking. Same thing with crypto. It's like, well, hold on, wait. It's like, oh yeah, the one or two small crypto scammers that get big are there to like bait people into the system, and then the rest is just like, hey, did you know the more you pump up the price of Bitcoin, the higher the valuation goes, the more, what is his name? Satoshi Nakamoto, parentheses, the Israeli government, or actually, Jeffrey Epstein
Jeffrey Epstein himself, yeah.
makes, yeah, like
Palm
it's,
Beach Pete.
huh. Yeah, Palm Beach Pete, the
uh,
yeah, that's and yeah, this feels just like oh hey Fannie Mae, I wanted to take out a housing loan on this, you know, $10.5 million mansion, and I've got this cryptocurrency that's backed by Bitcoin that's doing really well. I would like to, just so you can trust me, I'm gonna put up the money, and I'm gonna put up the money in crypto, but just I'm gonna collateralize a few of these things over here, like maybe a car and maybe a couple hundred maybe 100 grand or so. And so here you go. I'm trustworthy, but this house only actually cost me $10,000 because if the currency tanks, I only put like $10 into it anyway. Blew that up to like $1 million, and now it's like, or actually, I only put as much money in as it costs to create the tokens, as it costs to create the first like million tokens or 10,000 tokens. Blew those up to like 100K each through some like valuation nonsense, and yeah.
oh yeah, actually, and you brought up a good point about what's it called? Figuring out how this money essentially goes back to the rich people. Remember how I told you? I think it was like a week or 2 weeks ago. It wasn't on it wasn't on like what we're doing now. It wasn't on an episode, but I was playing stonks, and one of the companies that I was invested in, they did a stock split where one stock essentially equal two stocks, which in the terms of the game means, well, not in the game, but also in real life, they've doubled the amount of stocks out there, which means the value of each of those stocks was cut in half. And I explained that the reason why, one of the major reasons why companies do that is because it's surging up, but the company doesn't believe its stock should be worth that much. Let's say it went for like the stock at the time, right before they did the split, was like $100 per stock, and a company's like, we don't think our product is actually worth $100 a stock. It's great that people view it that way, but if we keep it here, it's going to crash, and that negative press will drown it down even further. So what they'll do is they'll split the stock, make it $50 a share, because they believe our stock is more or less, we believe it's worth $50 a share. The goal is obviously to get to $100 a share, but if it's getting pumped for some reason, or a lot of people discover it and a lot of purchases are being through, you know what I mean? It's
Hmm.
$50. It got shot up to 100 because it's popularity. That's fine. Nothing wrong with
Yeah,
that.
but we prefer stability over
Oh no, no, oh no, no.
temporarily high
Oh
valuation.
yeah, that's what I'm saying. So what and there's a possibility for sure is that these rich people are like, Bitcoin's reaching a high. We don't want to pay that much for anymore. How can we essentially get the Bitcoin from these people? Let's talk to Fannie Mae or Better Homes, whatever, and tell people that they can use their Bitcoin as collateral. They don't care that the value's decreasing because they can essentially create the, like, oh, we all, because, oligarchy, I bring it up all the time, like, oh, we think Bitcoin's worth $150,000. But they know people can't pay their loans, credit card payments or delinquencies are going through the roof. So that's just a fast way to get the money from the people who can't pay their rent to the people, who want the Bitcoin, as you stated. It gets
Hmm.
to them, doesn't really cost them anything. Yeah, it might go down a bit, but if you hold the keys to the castle, you get to determine when the doors open. They can essentially set their own prices. So yeah, I mean that if I had to put a conspiracy theory hat on to that, that might be something that's going on. They know that, you know, there's probably a crash or something doom incoming. People can't pay their house, their payments. How can we extract the money? And something they could do for collateral is that, like, well, the first thing they do is they take the Bitcoin before it crashes, and then they start taking the other stuff. Your car,
Mm-hmm.
or then your home itself. It's an idea. I don't know how well that works as an idea, but it's an idea. And a reoccurring theme in market crashes is an over reliance on new financial tools that market participants are overly confident they understand, aka Bitcoin. Like, for example, as someone who was like into Bitcoin, I'm not really into Bitcoin. I was into crypto. I thought that it was this is a fun little gimmick. I can throw like $20 and watch it go up and take profits as I see fit. But I don't, like, for example, like they said like 10% of millennials and Gen Z sold their crypto to pay for the loans. Give me one second. Let's see if I can find that word. Please stop with the ads. Two companies, whatever. Digital assets. First time. Yeah, 10% of millennials and Gen Z homebuyers sold crypto holdings to help fund their down payments. Like, now,
10% is crazy.
yeah, that's crazy. So it kind of, now granted, I can't entirely blame them, because the point of cryptocurrency is supposed to be like another form of currency that is essentially off the government chain and that's one of the reasons why I was into crypto. It's like, oh, I don't like the government, whatever. Which to an extent I kind of get, but like, you don't hear a lot of people saying, "Oh, I sold 20% of my stock portfolio so I can put a down payment on a house." No, because it's not. You're not supposed to view stocks as like a form of payment. I mean, to an extent, I can't blame them. Cryptocurrency is meant to fill that hole, but besides Bitcoin, which it uses, and Ethereum, everything else, in my opinion, or at least 98% of the rest, is just kind of hoping for a pump. You know what I mean? That's what
Mm-hmm.
they're all is. I wouldn't view them as something you should hold stake in, or something you should be like, oh yeah, I'll pay with it. Whatever. I know Elon Musk was trying to get Doge. You had to use Doge to charge your electric cars at one of the charging stations. I don't know where that went. That was probably the closest anything else got to like an actual like kind of currency. But 10% of millennials and Gen Z sold crypto. Like, I still have crypto. I'm not selling it. I don't view it as a type of
Sell crypto to buy my house.
to buy
Well,
my. I wouldn't.
well,
s- I wouldn't sell. I wouldn't
why
sell
would I
crypto.
give up a stable investment like that
I mean, I don't think
for such a volatile asset?
I mean, like, but like, I wouldn't like if I sold it. It was because I was taking profits off it, not because I need to make rent. I want the down payment on a house that I may or may not be able to afford, that may already
Mhm.
get liquidated, or taken as collateral. You know what I mean? Like, I would rather keep that as a possible investment than and then sell for profit than just, oh, here's my Bitcoin, what's it called, Coinbase credit card that's got my Bitcoin on it. Here, use that. I wouldn't be doing that. I'd rather hold on and take profit as needed. You know what I mean? Because to me, it's, how do I put this? While I do believe crypto is, uh, again, I would really only view Bitcoin and Ethereum, maybe Doge, and even then I'm on Doge, as like I would treat them more like stocks. I wouldn't sell stocks to make a payment. I wouldn't sell stocks to make my car payment or my rent, unless I was absolutely desperate. I'd rather hold on to it and wait for profit. Now granted, if 10% of millennials and Gen Z thought that Bitcoin was going to crash in the next couple of years, and that's why they sold it. Yeah, fine, fair. Take your profits, or cut your losses. Fair. But I don't. At least the way it's being written here in this article, It just seems like they sold their Bitcoin so they could as another transaction. Does that make sense? Am I making sense? Am I sounding weird? I'm probably sounding weird.
I understand.
And yeah, like of course, like this is also what happens. And when it happened, 2007, 2008 financial crisis with the housing crash, but also still happens to this day. Banks often create risky debt and then sell it to someone else, and that way they've made their profit, and then now that risk is the risk of the loan or the liquidation or defaulting, whatever, is put onto someone else's balance sheet, and their job is to make their profit and then send it to somebody else. That's what was the main problem with the
If you want to
mortgage
learn more about this, go watch the movie The Big Short.
Exactly, but that's the process, and it kind of seems like that's where we're getting at. Take on these people who put Bitcoin as liquid as part of their collateral, make your profit, send it to somebody else. I mean, if history's doomed to repeat itself, I can't imagine. I mean, one, things aren't already going well in this economy. The war doesn't seem to be ramping down. Inflation's going up. I think I just read a tweet or quote, whatever, that said the Strait of Hormuz is still closed, so that's not opening up. I think I saw somewhere like 20 more nations are sending their fleets to the Strait of Hormuz. So that's in my mind, that's a world war already. That the whole world's involved. So and then wages are stagnating, prices are going up because of the other economic factors. I don't see how this isn't at least part of it. How we don't have a repeat of 2007, 2008. Give me a second. Oh, excuse me. Yeah, excuse me. You know what I mean? So, so yeah, I feel like we've already put all the ingredients together. Now we just have to bake the cake.
Yeah.
So
it's 2008 all over again, both crypto.
Oh yeah, absolutely. People think they know what they're doing, and they don't.
You guys will love the movie that comes out about this in like 2028, 2029. And the whole cycle's repeated, and they're gonna call it The Bigger Short. Okay.
The Bigger Short.
The Bigger Shorter is what they're gonna call it.
The Haktua coin.
Hey guys, thanks for listening. That's gonna be it for.
But